Okay, well, but thanks for clicking on the button and tuning in to have a listen to my mental meander back at the allotments in the shed. And thank God the sun's come out a little bit, despite the chemicals being sprayed, despite the government's attempts, to bring our spirits down. Hopefully we're starting to revive ourselves, like the weather, the birds are out, the flowers are coming out, and hopefully we're going to spring back to life, and have a look around at the landscape we inhabit and the terrain that we walk on, together. And let's work out some common ground where, we can, have some sort of a society that we can relax and enjoy this place in, rather than this anxiety all the time. And, this, just trepidation and wondering what's going to happen next. We've got wars and rumours of wars everywhere, exactly like the Bible said that we would have in these days. We've got people, men and women, boys and girls, that have been killed and destroyed through it and through medical establishments, exactly like the Bible said it would be. He said that to beware. In the end, he said about pharmakeia, it was called, which is sorcery. That's what the definition of it. Watch out for sorcery. And that's what these farmers do. This is what pharmakeia is. These people who operate in the unseen and stand afar in the background, they operate, as we've said over many videos on here, they operate in a different realm and a different landscape than you and I entirely. The teachings that they received were not the teachings we received. They were mystery teachings, they were occult teachings, they were beliefs that were destructive to you and I and to this planet, because these people who look so normal, they look so, placid, they look so inoffensive and unthreatening, which is a persona, just to beguile you and to beguile, to beguile me, that these are harmless people, when in reality, these people have had severe mental devastation and trauma, foisted on them as small children, right from birth, where they were deprived of a mother's love and a mother's warmth and a father's embrace. That was denied to them, because this is a system. It's a mechanism, a spiritual mechanism that destroys certain systems within your spirit and within your body and within the innate mechanisms that your Creator, Almighty God, has placed within you, that is unseen. Well, these people inhabit that realm. They study and they spend vast amounts of the wealth and vast amounts of the time and vast amounts of their attention finding out about the unseen, not just in the spiritual, and not just in the cosmic or space or whatever is out there beyond there. They study inner space. They study the mysteries and the mind-blowing systems that threaten them so much, which is you and I. Because whether you've perceived this or you've grasped this, the people that are behind these systems that are destroying and killing and stealing everything, they don't really like you, and they're not too keen on me either. And they would be much more at peace if they could just sit back with the loot and with the power and with the land that they've stolen over hundreds and if not thousands of years, and rest in peace with it. You see, no thief and no murderer wants to be apprehended. They would sooner dispose of the witnesses. And we're witnesses to these people's behaviour. We have to try and look through their lens, which is not the same as ours. These people, when they are destroyed as children, a psychological explosion happens within them spiritually in the realm of the unseen that you and I don't understand. We don't even know that it exists or it's possible, because it's not within our nature. We don't understand why a snake, would bite for no reason. We don't know why a wolf would tear each other apart. It's just, it's what they do. It's within their nature. And all that, the plot and evil and destruction and this vile tunnel that they look through, this lens that they look through, we don't possess that, but they do. Because, when they are destroyed and their psyche and their mind is split and it's shattered through terror and through fear and through sexual abuse and through at a young child's age, and it absolutely destroys something within them. They go into what's known as trauma. They go into a state of shock from which they never recover. You cannot recover from that trauma, because it resets and it remaps and it reprograms synapses within the brain. It reconfigures that surge, that massive surge of terror and that massive surge of fight or flight adrenaline produces in a little child like an explosive electric shock, and they do not recover from it. There is an alternate personality. They go to a different arena. They go to a different realm spiritually, and in that realm and in that state, they can be programmed. They can be given a whole new identity. They can be given information. They can commit acts that are absolutely horrendous and not even have a clue that they've done that, or they can stay in that persona and they can do that and smile because they have now two personalities. One was created for them purposely so that they can run this system of destruction that is devastating this beautiful place that we inhabit. They've done it for century upon century. I mentioned in a video last week or so about Lady Diana's brother and the horrendous abuse that he experienced and the psychological damage. He's still undergoing like therapy at the moment, and writing this book and bringing this information forward was his therapy. And he describes the fear he's dumped in what's basically a pedophile university, where the people are horrendous, where they are frightening, where they have even other young boys that have been traumatised and who are going through their psychopath training. They place them in charge of these little boys, 5, 6 years of age, and they terrorise them and they frighten the living daylights out of them. And then the masters come in and glare at them and frighten the crap out of them and beat them with sticks. And then in the most part, some of them rape them. Yeah, this is part of their education. We got Janet and John when we were kids, A, B, C, D, E. They get all that, but they get an awful lot more. They get destroyed. They get created to run this system that we call government, that we call authority. It's another word you want to look at, author and right, because you have inherent rights from your creator. He's the author of my rights. And if you're not moving in them inherent rights that God has given you with that awareness as a man or as a woman, well, then somebody else is going to author your rights, and it's going to be the government, and they become the author of rights, the authority, the local authority, the governmental authority, because we haven't taken authority over these wicked, evil individuals. We have not seen through their persona because of their occult and their sorcery and their black magic, because, by the way, it is real. These people are not stupid. These people are absolutely got IQs that are astronomical, and this is their life. This is their lifestyle, is connecting with this spiritual realm, with these entities, with these messengers, with these angels, with these entities, and they receive information. They receive technology. They receive instructions. Tesla was the same. Everything what he got, he said he was received from entities. There's nearly everyone, Isaac Newton, John Dee, you go back through the list, and they all say that this amazing, world transformation things that they bring forth were given to them as like a download, as like, you know, in a vision or in a dream or looking into a scrivener mirror or some sort of occult practice coupled to their beliefs. And this stuff is given to them, and these entities, you know, have made known to them, if you wish to continue, you know, to receive this power and to receive this authority and to receive this wisdom, there are certain things you're going to have to do. There is a price to be paid. You know, you have to have a membership card to come into our presence and receive this information, and to be kings of the world, and to have domination over men and women. There's a price to be paid. You must bring me a sacrifice. You must bring children to me, and you must sacrifice them. That's the deal. And they do it. And they get videoed doing it. And they get blackmailed. It's there forever, hanging over their heads. There is no going back for these people. Not in this realm. They can go back spiritually, because Almighty God has left a way open for them to repent and ask for forgiveness, and He's promised to provide it no matter what they've done. You wouldn't, I'll bet on me. That's a hard call, but God will forgive them. But will they turn round? I've got no idea. But where we are now is that we've been attacked. No, where we are now is that you know, we've got the crosshairs on our foreheads from these people, because we are witnesses to what these people have done, and we are witnesses to who these people are. They have two natures. They have more than two natures. And we showed it on a video here, the power of it, just with Derren Brown. We're just ordinary people who have not gone through that trauma, who have not gone through that bestial upbringing. You know, just Joe Blogs can be inputted with certain information, and he can be taken to a different mind space. He showed it on the video where a guy stood up and he shot Stephen Fry in a thing, put the gun down, sat down, didn't even know he'd done it. Well, can you imagine the power of words and of suggestion and of when you're in a certain mind state? Well, this is the stuff that these people excel in. This is these are the techniques and the occult practices that have manipulated us as a humanity and as a species, more or less off the end of a cliff. And we've gone willingly, we've gone smilingly, like the Pied Piper, leading away the children. That's what we've been, like the generation game, what we showed on a video with our children are just going past. Oh, they've got ADHD, oh, they've got autism, oh, yeah, they've got this, oh, they're in jail now, oh, you can't control them, oh, we're just watching everything. What is this? Well, we've been attacked, we know that. And this is what this video, that might have been a bit of a long intro, I didn't even know I was going to say any of it, but here we go, and this video is about explaining where these people attack from, how they attack. I want to show you what they attack, and best of all, I want to show you how to defend yourself. I'm going to share information, and I'm no expert, you know what I mean? I'm no white-coated lab guy. I'm just a lorry driver sitting in a shed on an allotment. But that said, I've got my eyes open, and I'm spiritually wide awake to these devils, and I'm hopefully next few videos are going to like lead you through, so you can get some peace, so you can get some serenity back, so you can get some stability back. And it's possible. I'm going to share how you do it in a minute. These people attack you at a molecular level. They attack you at a biological level. They attack you at a cellular level in the realm that is unseen to you, but is wide open to them. These spiritual powers and principalities in the heavenly realms, is how the Bible describes them, have you know, allowed these people to have information at a molecular level and at a DNA level to attack us and to destroy us. They've given like a recipe, like a Mrs. Beaton's recipe book of chemicals that will do certain specific things within ourselves that we're totally unaware of. There is a universe within us. There is systems within us that are more complicated than any Swiss watch. And they were created, they were put there. And Almighty God says to us He says, surely I knitted you together in the secret place. This is what these people deal in, is secrets. The secret places where we were destroyed. There was a NASA document that come available on the internet just for a short while till he panicked. And they took it down, but it's available now on the internet if you go search for it. And I suggest that you do. And it was all to do with all this technology, all these bacterias and whatever it is that they're doing to us, the sonic weapons, the vibrator, all the whole 9 yards is in that book, and it's been deployed against us. But spring's here, God is in his heaven, Ian is in his shed, and you're hopefully at the end of this camera and you're going to have some good information to impart to people, because the mechanism that they've used was biological, and we're going to have a look inside your body. We're going to have a look at the mechanisms that they attach, and I'm fair sure that you're going to be pretty well astounded. But before we do that, I want to confirm to you what I've just said about we've been attacked at a biological level. And good old Andrew Bridgen has stepped into the gap again at Parliament, and other MPs with him this time. And one of his colleagues has given him a speech. And before we get into the next part of this video, which hang fire, because it's going to be good, and I want you to listen to this guy. This is a member of Parliament. He's outlining to you, and just take this in before we go into the next part, because the realm that they've attacked, the realm that they're killing us for, we're going to reveal it, we're going to open it up, we're going to have a look at it, and we're going to have a look at some solutions that will undo their evil mechanisms.
Why are the government so willing to pick up the tab on vaccine injury, and however inadequate the scheme is, given the fatality and significant life-limiting impacts from the victims? But the concerns about this have been amplified significantly following the publication in The Spectator Australia of an account by genomic scientist Kevin McKern made about his accidental discovery, and I quote, "While running an experiment in his Boston lab, McKern used some vials of mRNA, Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines as controls. He was shocked to find that they were allegedly contaminated with tiny fragments of plasmid DNA. This concern has been considered further by Professor Angus Dalgleish, who notes that the contaminant, simian virus 40, is a sequence that is used to drive DNA into the nucleus, especially in gene therapies, and that this is something that regulatory agencies around the world have specifically said is not possible with the mRNA vaccines. These SV40 promoters are also well recognised as being oncogenic or cancer-inducing genetic material. And other scientists have confirmed these findings, as Prof. Dalgleish further notes. To put it bluntly, this means that they are not vaccines at all, but genetically modified organisms that should have been subject to totally different regulatory conditions and certainly not be classed as vaccines. And worryingly, Professor Dalgleish also notes that oncologists have contacted him from across the world, and that the consensus is that this is thought to be a precipitating relapse in melanoma, lymphoma, leukemias, and in kidney cancers. And he concludes with the following warning: to advise boosted vaccines, as is currently the case, if that's the current position, is no more and no less than medical incompetence. To continue to do so with his cited evidence is medical negligence, which can carry a custodial sentence.
You know, that's Parliament, you know, that are elected officials. And thank God for the ones who were there, who had the courage or the insight to even show up, you know, and place a flag on the ground, you know, for you and I, and for themselves and for their own family. You know, they have empathy. I don't believe that the part of this, you know, cabal, these entities that are destroying mankind, they're destroying the planet, they're destroying the, nature, they're destroying the wildlife. This is what they do. The Bible, who I believe and follow, it tells me that they come to kill, steal and destroy. And that's all I see them do, and everything I look at in the scriptures is absolutely accurate. Which is why, by the way, as an aside, they hate the church. No, well, not the picture that would paint in your mind. The spiritual church, the believers who interact with the Creator, because that's the offer. It is those that they're terrified of. It's those that they want rid of straight away. Because, the same messengers, these evil entities that give them this destructive power, like the iPhone, and like the TV, and like these toxic soups and chemicals, these witches' brews that these pharmacists and these wizards want to inject. They are not the only entities. The Creator has left His word here. His promise to me is that He will command His angels concerning me, because I acknowledge Him and His law and His realm. Remember the prayer, let Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done. Oh, okay, it is going to be done. These people are going to be reckoned with. But until that day, you and I have got to reckon with them. This realm belongs to man and woman. This was created for us. And ultimately, where we'll get to at some point, you're going to discover that this battle, this evil entity, this evil battle, is trying to eliminate mankind, man and woman, because we are made in God's image. And they know, the one thing, there's an awful lot that's been hidden, obviously, to do with health and the way they've destroyed us. But the one main thing that they've demonized on this planet is the word of God. Because we came with an owner's manual. We were not left here stranded. We were left here with a record and with information that God Himself actually fingerprinted. That's why, when we sign our documents, as a man or a woman in law, and affix our fingerprint to it, that's because these people who understand, they know exactly what the Bible is. That's why it's there in front of us whenever you have to go into court. It's what you swear on. The highest accolade of truth that you can prefix, it is the gospel. That's the gospel truth. The gospel means good news. That's what it means. It's the gospel truth. Is that the good news is in the midst of this nightmare, and in the midst of this horror and this onslaught by forces basically who are in control, you cannot even see or access, and nor would you wish to, and nor should you, by means of your DMTs or your whatever, ayahuascas or whatever else you take, because they will lift you to that dimension. And if you doubt me, and I don't even know whether it's a good suggestion, and you want to see whether these people are the good guys who are here for your benefit, and you think they're here to sing and dance for you and entertain you to death, then you ask one of them about the blood of Jesus and the power of the cross, and see how friendly they remain. That's just an aside. But the mechanisms that these people use in the unseen are revealed within the Word of God. They know that, and that's the realm that they inhabit, the unseen and the spiritual realm. And the Word of God tells us, it says, he says, we came with a manual, and He says within that manual, He says, I knitted you together in the secret place. He's saying that He knitted you together in the secret place. While these people follow the secret teachings, they follow the mystery religions, they follow the occult. We see in the Baal worship in Birmingham with Charles and Camilla. This stuff is open with the Baal model, but it is hidden, it is occulted, and we're going to reveal it out, because the mechanisms that they've used against us are biological. Up until recently, not too many years, we couldn't see. We had no idea of the mechanisms and the intricacies and the astounding, creation that goes on just beneath the surface of your skin. You know, your skin is no more than a bag, really, to hold into universes and mechanisms that make Swiss watches and the most intricate circuitry look like two bricks banging around in a cement mixer. This creation that that you and I are absolutely astonishing, and these entities know that. And the scriptures in the Bible also tells us that when this has run its course, and when the Creator has come back here to take back what He created, because ultimately this battle is about ownership. That's why you hear in Congress they're talking about aliens, and they're talking about UFOs, and they're talking about getting everybody ready and fearful that these invaders from another, world are going to attack us and kill us. All this is talking about on every news channel and stuff, because they want us to believe that when Almighty God comes back here, when Jesus comes back here, this is what He's promised us to do. It says that every eye is going to see Him, and He's going to take back, He's going to destroy these people. We're going to be a hair's breadth away from destroying one another at the Battle of Armageddon, it states. And every single nation named within that book is lined up right now as I'm speaking to you with nuclear weapons primed and targeted, exactly like the book of Ezekiel described thousands of years ago, describes how they explode, what happens to the whole 9 yards is in there, and they want this secret from you. They don't want you to know that you've got information available that comes from another dimension, from another realm. So we're going to have a look. If God says, I knitted you together in the secret place, He also says, do you not know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made? Excuse me. I'm going to start from that preface, and we're going to have a look at what it is He's made. That is nothing to do with you, and is nothing to do with I, and is nothing to do with anybody else. It's to do what He has created. And we're going to have a look inside the cell. We're going to have a look inside what are 70 trillion factories, intricate factories, Swiss watch type factories that are there to produce you, to produce health, to produce stamina, to produce energy, to produce joy, to produce happiness, to produce vigour, to produce you at your prime optimum. That there are 70 trillion factories that are primed and ready to produce that for you, and we had no idea of any of it, but these people did, and they knew their functions. They knew exactly what mechanisms were at use to create eyesight, to create brain activity, how the heart, all of that different stuff that we put out to this health service, and to these experts, and to these professors, and to these universities. So we're going to introduce you and let you have a look now at something as a lead-in, because you're going to have a look at this fearfully and wonderfully made creation that is you. And we're going to have a look at something. We're going to have a look at how a protein is put together, because ultimately we're going to lead back to a substance that you've heard of, which is protein, but we're going to dig a little deeper, and we're going to have a look at an animation now, and this is how a protein is created.
Here is a cell, the basic unit of all living tissue. In most human cells, there is a structure called the nucleus. The nucleus contains the genome. In humans, the genome is split between 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each chromosome contains a long strand of DNA, tightly packaged around proteins called histones. Within the DNA are sections called genes. These genes contain the instructions for making proteins. When a gene is switched on, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the start of the gene. It moves along the DNA, making a strand of messenger RNA out of free bases in the nucleus. The DNA code determines the order in which the free bases are added to the messenger RNA. This process is called transcription. Before the messenger RNA can be used as a template for the production of proteins, it needs to be processed. This involves removing and adding sections of RNA. The messenger RNA then moves out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm. Protein factories in the cytoplasm, called ribosomes, bind to the messenger RNA. The ribosome reads the code in the messenger RNA to produce a chain made up of amino acids. There are 20 different types of amino acid. Transfer RNA molecules carry the amino acids to the ribosome. The messenger RNA is read 3 bases at a time. As each triplet is read, a transfer RNA delivers the corresponding amino acid. This is added to a growing chain of amino acids. Once the last amino acid has been added, the chain folds into a complex 3D shape to form the protein.
So how incredible, is that, to think that that is going on billions and billions of times, unseen, uncommanded or uncontrolled by you and I. It's done as a function by your creator for you. This is the astonishing thing that we are. Everyone's heard the term of, the people and the population have been dumbed down, that they're not thinking straight. And, I don't know about the people that you've been bumping into or you've been interacting with lately, but I'm pretty sure you may have found, like I do, it's really hard to get information through to them, and it's difficult for them to process or to believe that they look weighed down and burdened and fearful, and that's their state of existence, as if like that's the norm and they're just hoping nothing worse happens, basically. And they've no idea that state of affairs, that state of mind, that depression, that anxiety, that them feelings of suicidalness and all that, that they are created in that invisible realm, in that realm we've just looked at, where DNA is made into a protein. We're unaware of that realm when these people are. Is that proteins, I think that there are 300,000 different proteins that create every single cell and every single system in your body. The myriad of miracles that they perform second by second is jaw-dropping. And we're going to have a look at a couple just so I can emphasise to you, how incredible you are. And we've got to rise up, to that stature. We've got to realise that, the God that put you and I together is more powerful than you've ever dreamt or imagined, and it's been absolutely hidden from you, the same as the realm we're beginning to look into now, into the unseen realm, where he said that he knitted us together in the secret place. He's telling us, until we were able to look down these super powerful microscopes, we had no idea of any of this, and it is astonishing beyond belief. What we're going to touch on is we're going to touch on a substance that you may have heard of, but maybe not understood the significance of, because when we get a grasp and we get a handle on these substances, we're going to be able to change not only ourselves and our children and our neighbourhoods and our towns and our cities. We're going to be able to begin the fight back, to get health back, to get peace of mind back, to get depression just a thing of the past, just a non-existent entity in your life, that you're going to have optimism, that you're going to have joy. These are all mechanisms that are innate. This is supposed to be our experience of this world, but we've been attacked. We never realised that these entities, that these health killers, you know, have convinced us that we don't need to know any of this, that they've got everything under control, when really they've been systematically turning these systems off, that they've been operating, you know, through biological attacks like we heard the MP mention, and they have major effects. They produce every sort of sickness and disease, but what underlines the whole mechanism, you know, as minerals and vitamins and fatty acids are essential, and we touched on that a little bit. The crown, if you like, or the thing that supersedes all of that, are these amino acids, or what they're called. There are a raft of them. There are five of them that are absolutely essential, that you must intake into your system, and you're going to be astonished at what those five amino acids are going to produce in your life as soon as you place them, basically instantly under your tongue, because your depression is going to go. There's going to be the 5 different amino acids we're just going to touch on at the end. We'll get to it in a bit. Are going to switch your brain activity back on. They're going to switch off the blockages that other chemical reactions have produced within you to make this life seem like a stress and a strain and a burden, and you're depressed and you're anxious and you're taking medication and you're sick and you're ill, and they're all connected to what I'm going to talk about now, and this is how you're going to address them if we're going to lock together and make something happen. We're going to look at 5 compounds called amino acids, because there are 5 different sections of your brain, your activity, the most intricate system that absolutely blow your mind with the electrical activity and the chemical activity and the systems that it runs. Obviously, I mean, it's the brain. You know, well, there's 5 separate areas that are basically controlled by 5 different amino acids that have been purposely and consciously removed from you and from your diet. Well, the downline of those 5 essential amino acids being removed from your diet, or at the very minimum where you're bumping along the bottom, they produce every single enzyme in your body, protein in your body, and enzymes are involved as well. And those proteins we're going to have a look at in a minute. They produce your skin. They produce every single enzyme, and the intricacy in the cellular level to make that operate for you is just mind blowing. You're going to see the hand of God at work when you have a look just inside one of these 70 trillion cells that go unseen, you know, unbeknown to us, working and labouring on your behalf second by second so we can remain upright. And these people have been switching those systems off. We've already looked on some of the other videos of all the infertility and the sexual hormonal and sexual gender stuff that just seems to have exploded over the last 15 years. And we looked at the chemical atrazine. You know, it's all published, it's public, that chemically you can produce, you know, this dysfunction in a regime that was set since we were created. And these people know they are alchemists, they are chemists. And something else is a little aside that the Bible warns us about. It says about in these days in which we live now, it warns us, it says in the end days about the sorcery and the pharmakeia. And so what we've done is that we've decided that we're going to follow the science and everything's going to be scientific. Well, you know, the whole mechanism is run on a scientific basis. And we'll have a look at scientific in a minute. But first we'll have a look inside the human cell, and we'll have a look at some systems, because these are the systems that they have interfered with, and this is just by way of an introduction. So we're going to have a look at the human immune system and we're going to have a look how it attacks and how it defends on your behalf. And it is more intricate than any army or any attack you can imagine. With the generals, it has the intelligence officers, it has the whole 9 yards, and it's run. And that is what is being attacked. That is being what's being, the enemy is behind the lines in our immune system. And these amino acids are going to change all that.
The adaptive immune system provides a more targeted defense. Dendritic cells are like intelligence specialists. They collect pieces of the invader at the site of the battle. Then they travel to the nearest lymph node, triggering a cascade of events. Inside the lymph node, the dendritic cell presents pieces of the invader to T cells, the immune system's communication specialist. In turn, T cells activate B cells, training them to form antibodies, the molecular weapons that target the invader specifically. The immune system now mounts its ultimate defense. B cells release millions of antibodies, each antibody's shape tailored to identify and neutralize the enemy. The immune system deploys these tailored weapons until the infection is wiped out, ready to respond even faster the next time.
Amino acids, they're a vital precursor, which means that they are vital. If you're going to make anything, you must have these amino acids. There's rafted them, but there are 5 that you must become aware of, that you must become introduced into your system, into your children's systems. I want to have done a few notes here. I've never done notes before, so if I look down, I'm not falling asleep. I'm trying to look through my Poundland glasses. They're a vital precursor to every hormone in your body, which means that you cannot create hormones without these amino acids. You know, if you're a woman, obviously you know how vital hormones are. I mean, even to, to all of us really. And these are the mechanisms that they've messed with these atrazine. It messes with the endocrine system and the hormonal system, and it has these results that people, it's just how it is. It's what this chemical intervention has produced, that people's sexuality has just been scrambled. You know, I love loads of people who are gay and stuff, and I love them. They're my friends. I love them, but you know, we've all been chemically attacked, and we have all had repercussions, and that is one of the repercussions. There are hundreds of others, but amino acids is what has been attacked in us. It's made us depressed, it's made us anxious, it's wrecked our hormonal system, and these people have substituted, you know, for these amino acids, the destructive chemicals, you know, into our system that are being delivered, you know, by mechanisms that are mind-boggling, the most incredible, you know, transport systems, you know, to remove these compounds, these enzymes, you know, they have to be carried, they have to be moved from A to B about the body, they have to be transported. You know, these different factories and cells place an order on the internal internet, which is picked up electronically, and delivery drivers, you know, delivery people like postmen are sent to pick up them deliveries, and they carry them on the back, and they deliver them through walkways, and this whole system is a universe within itself, and there's 70 trillion of them, all with these hive of activities going on in the unseen realm. And amino acids are critical. None of that infrastructure, you know, can run its course without amino acids. And these people have removed them from us, and we are devastated as a result. You know, the sicknesses, the diabetes, the illnesses, the cancers, the turbo cancers are all down in one aspect or another to our deficiency in these amino acids, because our systems cannot create, you know, the enzymes, it cannot create the T cells, they cannot create anything without these amino acids creating the proteins. And we're going to have a look at the system. I'm going to show you the system. You know, that every one of those cells within the nucleus, you know, it has a motor that the equivalent, if scaled up, is the same as a jet aircraft. Every cell, you've got 70 trillion of them, and scaled up to our dimension, they would be as powerful as a jet aircraft. And they are firing your energy, and they need fuel. Well, they've been deprived of the ability to have that fuel delivered by the amino acids, and you know that they are carried by I'm going to let you have a look at them. They're called kinases, and they walk along what they call tubulets that are created in front of them, and they have their arms outstretched, they have legs, and they walk along what's an escalator that is being built in front of them, carrying whatever it is that, you know, that you've swallowed, or a protein, or it may be a you know, an enzyme, maybe a nutrient, it may be phosphorus, it may be any sort of thing that's needed anywhere in your body. These are like American Express, these are the about the post office, you know, these are the people who deliver, and they are like people. They walk along escalators. You're going to see it on a video in a minute, and they carry it, and they can only walk in straight lines. This is just absolutely mind-blowing. This is the realm that God has created and governs. Also says, you know, you've got to look at this stuff, say, who did this? You know, where did this come from? How can this be real? Well, you're going to see it. And these things are carrying these proteins and these you know, these enzymes and these nutrients and stuff. And when they get to there are other kinases creating these walkways, and they come together and they intercept. And as soon as they intercept, the kinase that's going to take it the other way throws its two arms onto this structure, whatever it was. You see, it lifts it, takes one step, and as soon as it walks away, the kinase that was carrying it drops, just drops, and it sits there, and it doesn't move until it's signalled again. Until absolutely unbelievable. Well, you will have seen it before. If you've seen the epidemics in America, if you've seen the streets in America, because people are doing it. People are bent over and they fell over, and people are astonished. They're calling it the zombie epidemic, the zombie drug, and they are bent over. And I want you to have a look next at these kinases. I want you to have a look at the factories that are going on and was being created over 70 trillion times, and the power of amino acids, because none of this can take place without amino acids. And we're going to go through the 5 of them that hopefully you're going to go and acquire real quick, because when you start putting these amino acids under your tongue, a lot of these problems, these anxieties and depressions and cravings, and even alcoholism, and your the cravings for crack cocaine and for all sorts of stimulants, caffeine and stuff, you're going to find they're going to diminish on a massive scale, and they're going to do it real quick once you get familiar with amino acids. But for now, I want you to have a look at these kinases, and then I want you to have a look at this video of these poor souls whose amino acids are absolutely stripped.
Just like a busy city, there's constant motion inside of your cells. There's new construction, demolition, and most importantly, transporting goods from one place in the cell to another. Cells transport goods along cellular roadways. To transport cargo along these roads, the cells use motor proteins. Kinesin is one of these motor proteins. If you didn't have kinesin and other motor proteins, you simply wouldn't be alive. All the cells in your body depend upon these tiny motor proteins to organize and power themselves, to divide and multiply, and to communicate with other cells. Let's start with how you began, as a fertilized egg. That egg has to divide into many more cells. All of those divisions require kinesin and many other motor proteins. Development, forming tissues and different parts of your body, requires molecular motion and motor proteins. Every cell of your body requires them for survival. What we know now is that kinesin effectively has two legs, and these legs are able to coordinate a walking motion along a track. That track is called a microtubule, and the kinesin undergoes this beautiful choreographed walking action. While the kinesin is walking along this track, at the other end of the kinesin, it gets hooked up to a cargo. These motor proteins move quickly and efficiently. Relative to their size, they move as fast as a car on a freeway. But they're 4 times more efficient than your car in converting chemical energy into motion. We discovered kinesin in 1984. I was 25 years old at the time and a graduate student. I was interested in the transportation system inside of nerve cells. And what makes nerve cells so interesting is that they're extraordinarily long cells. For example, the part of your nerve cell that has the nucleus, where the DNA is located in your spinal cord. But it can extend a very long tube all the way, for example, to your foot. All of the building blocks for that nerve cell are made in your spinal cord, and all those building blocks have to be shipped to the very end of that nerve cell a meter away. There had to be some kind of transport system that was moving these building blocks inside the nerve cell, and I wanted to know how that transportation system worked. After we got this transport to work in this test tube, the hunt was on then to find the key molecule that was responsible for that movement. And we eventually found it, and it turned out to be something completely new that no one had ever discovered before. Watching these movements under the microscope, it was fascinating then to figure out, how does this motor actually work? How does something that's a millionth of an inch in size generate that motion? My lab at UCSF spent about 10 to 20 years trying to figure out the answer to that question. We know about kinesin now, we know a lot about how it moves, but there's still so many fundamental questions that we don't know about how all this motility is regulated, how all of these cargoes know how to go to the right places. There are always new questions that one wants to know the answers to.
Just to introduce us and get us paddling down the river in the canoe, so to speak. Got a little bits of stuff you probably already know and stuff about. There's 3 main bodies, that are very important. Obviously, one of them is fats. We're made of fats. Everything that's your energy, it's your power. We're made of proteins and carbohydrates. Okay, proteins are like the things that build everything, your hair follicles, your eyes, your nails, your enzymes, your heart, every single thing is created by these. With the kinases, you've just seen what they carry. You've seen where does them escalators come from? What hand governs that? Who designed that? And this is going on every minute of every day. And this is the realm as why we are just being turned off and destroyed, because we have not acknowledged that we have a creator, that we are absolutely unprecedented as a creation. And that creator has left us a handbook, he's left us information that we can access, because that realm is where we need to start focusing our attention if we want to stay alive on this planet, if we want to reach out to people who are absolutely frightened beyond belief, in fear, which drains neurotransmitters that are created by amino acids. Depression is created through lack of amino acids. They are depleted. One of the zones within the brain that creates contentment and happiness and joy has been switched off, because that particular amino acid is not available to produce the proteins to keep that system alive, because these cells are dying off, millions and billions per day. And these factories, if you could visualize it in a scene that we are familiar with, you could only look at a building site and look at it at that super fast photography where you see it being constructed and it's going up real fast, and then it runs for a little while, and then it gets run down a little bit, and then it gets demolished, and that's going on continually in 70 trillion cells in your body, and they all need workforce, and that is the workforce. There's nothing you could look at that you could design in outer space that could blow your mind any more than the internal workings of one of your 70 trillion cells. And that's who we are. You know, we are created to be in touch with the creator, the one who was in authority over that unseen realm. You know, and when you are in touch with that unseen realm, the door is wide open to anybody. You know, he informs us, you know, that in that unseen realm there is a war that is taking place over you and I, over ownership. You know, the warfare is over whether, we get to go forward into eternity and into the future. This is what the Bible, this is what the gospel is. That you can come out, you can, and he will reveal this knowledge to you. You know, you don't have to be a GP, you just need to be open. And he says in another scripture that I read on a video, it says above all things, it says strive to maintain a teachable spirit. This is spiritual stuff. You know, if you will open, say, Jesus, if you please, just, is this real? Can you make this real? I need to live. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm living in hell, that my life is a burden, that my children are in danger. I need this. And these are all chemical and run by spiritual entities that have known how to switch off specific areas of your brain and your psyche, and they've done it like maestros, and it's time for us to switch them back on, and amino acids are going to switch them back on for us. I want you to have a look at another little bit here, and then we'll get onto these 5 amino acids that are going to revolutionise your life for you.
In the nucleus of the cells, you can find the DNA. Every day, the DNA of each cell is damaged thousands of times. If only one strand of the DNA is damaged, this can be easily repaired. PARP proteins bind to the damage and attract other proteins that repair the damage. When damaged DNA duplicates before the damage is repaired, a double-strand break can arise. In a healthy cell, this more severe damage can be repaired with the help of homologous recombination. BRCA1 protein binds the loose ends of the DNA and starts to unravel the DNA strands. Using the undamaged DNA strand as a template, the damage is then repaired.
You know, so if that stuff doesn't blow you away, and to see, you know, we're beginning to get a perspective on how absolutely incredible we are. You know, we are not worthless, weak, you know, powerless individuals. We've just had our power switched off. And, you know, it's time for us to switch it back on, you know, with these amino acids. And, you know, there's cancer everywhere. You know, there's people who are being diagnosed with, you know, these turbo cancers that last them weeks. I heard there was a 50-year-old girl who had spoke to at the beginning of all this murder regime about the masks, and she took them off, and I thought, but she must have had the and she's just died. You know, I've just had a friend yesterday who was a pub magician, up close, personal, blow your mind magician. He was an absolute character around here. Everyone knew him. He was better than any of them on the TV. A close-up magic right in your face. His name was Cliffy Starkey, and he died 2 days ago. But my mum was only talking to him a fortnight ago, and now he's gone. You know, and these things are just gaining momentum, and you know, everybody's experiencing it because we're unable to fight back. You know, in that realm where we need to be aware of, and the one that you've just seen there with saying about the amino acids, and there's an engine inside there as well that we'll get to, but the amino acids are what switch your brain on, that like a card dealer, you know, they decide what's going to be created when it's needed. They take orders, they create. They're like a 3D printer. They will print it, they will print out, they will take out DNA, they will repair damaged DNA. You've just seen it on the video, you know, how it's trying all different ways and different mechanisms. And when we're aware of them mechanisms and we apply our God-given common sense, you know, we can cooperate with them mechanisms and make them operate for us to produce health, rather than these people understanding those mechanisms and using them to produce destruction and death. And that's the battle we're in. You know, it's a battle for your life, it's a battle for your soul, it's a battle for your children. And, you know, we've got to be aware. You know, the Bible again says, get wisdom and get knowledge. It says, my son, it says, it will be a garland of grace around your neck. Like the garlands used to wear in Hawaii before they burnt it to the ground. Well, these amino acids, when they're created and when they're in your system, they're actually called and identified as a ring of beads, like a garland. These amino acids are going to be a garland of life around your neck. It also says that that garland of grace will preserve your life many years. And these are the amino acids we're going to introduce you to next. Yeah, so, you know, what are these aminos? You know, they're created from these elements that these conjurers, you know, have been able to mess with and reconfigure to create like anarchy within your system and destruction rather than life and health. And the three elements that go to make up, you know, actually what they are carbons, hydrogens and oxygen. Carbons, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so they reconfigure, and they reconfigure in different formats and in different ways. Produce a fat or a carbohydrate, you know, and then what happens to produce these amino acids is there has to be a third entity involved that has been taken away from us. You know, this is part of the withdrawal of the amino acids from us because plants are involved. You need plants to produce amino acids because what the plants do, they add one more nitrogen atom into that equation inside the plant. And how it does that is it draws in sunlight and it draws in water, and that chemical reaction within the nucleus of the plant produces that amino acid within the plant. And what the plant does with that new structure is it creates glucose, which is brain energy, which is the sugars that our system is supposed to run on, you know, but we've been substituted with it as well. When we ingest that glucose, that plant material, our system then is able to process that chemical reaction into an amino acid, and the whole thing is miraculous. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it does what it does. You've just got to appreciate and stand back in absolute astonishment, because, you know, these aminos, you know, they rely on the plants. They rely on the plant life. Well, everything that we're consuming, you know, it's grown in chemical fertilizer. It has had any amino acids and stuff absolutely destroyed from them. We're not intaking these things, so all these systems, you know, can't switch on. And now there is cancer has run amok because our body can't produce, you know, the immune response that we've just looked at. It can't produce, it can't produce the proteins, the workers. There's no bricklayers, there's no plasterers, there's no roof, there's no one to do the work, even if the tools were available, which they're not. And so we're just falling to bits. People can't concentrate, they can't think anymore. And this is because of this chemical deterioration. These factories, it's like when you watch, you know, a factory mostly in America, but now over here, and you see what was a thriving, you know, like Camel Laird's, you know, thriving, thousands of all activity, drivers, cranes, ships, thousands of men, canteens, dinner time, the whole activity going on. You go past now, it's absolutely deserted. It's like a ghost town compared to what it was. And because it was a factory, it was created to produce a product, and there's no longer any workers there, so there's no product being produced. And as a result of our factories in that same condition, you know, we're just slowly falling apart, and we're dying everywhere. You know, we've seen by the other video how they've demonised nicotine, you know, one nutrient. You know, how many children have suffered with autism? You know, how many people have had brain tumours? This just goes on and on. These people have done this knowingly, and we've been absolutely ignorant of this realm. We've accepted, you know, that all these things are bad for us, that we shouldn't go near them. Amino acids are something we're going to have to get familiar with, and we're going to go through them. And what we're going to do with these 5 is you're going to switch your brain back on, and you're going to find your peace and your serenity again, and the panic, that's going to go as well. And the first one we're going to look at tryptophan. It's to do with sleep. It's to do with you feel good. You know, your rest, your serenity. Very little of that going around anymore because we're struggling to produce those feel-good enzymes, those feel-good factors, because the proteins are not able to produce what's required. And as a result of that, you know, we're just depressed, and we're anxious, and we're fearful, because tryptophan is like, it will help you relax and be calm, and to consider and to evaluate. And this will happen almost instantly, that you place this sublingually under your tongue. It's going to be like a magic wand for a lot of people. And that's tryptophan. May I have a look a little bit at it, Rose here. And what it produces when you're introduced to tryptophan is melatonin. That's the chemical, the biochemical. These are neurotransmitters. You know, they create all the activity within the brain. They switch on systems that will produce what's been lacking in you mostly all your life, probably. And you know, when you switch them back on, these things begin to change. So I'm just going to introduce these to you, you know, briefly as an introduction, because you're going to have to research this. You know, that you're going to have to, you know, raise your game, you know, and raise, if you want your sanity back, and you want this fractiousness back, you want that to leave, you want to be calm and considered, and joy and happiness. These are all emotions that are inherent. We were created to live in that state. You know, all the wherewithal for us to live in that condition and in that state are already there in that factory units. The factories have been closed down. It's not producing joy anymore. It can't produce the neurotransmitters and the enzymes, those kinases that produce that are just flopped over, like those poor souls in America with the drug that flopped over and folded in half and just waiting to be lit up again. But this is what these amino acids will do. They will give them kinases the material, and they will begin to reconnect these neurotransmitters that will reconnect to these, you know, these emotions and these things that have been killing us for probably all our lives. It'll switch them back on for you, and we'll begin to reassess our situation. You know, like remember what was that film? I am reviewing the situation. Topo. Yeah, you've got to review the situation, and it's not good, folks, you know, but it's getting better every day. Tryptophan.
I'm reviewing the situation. Can a fella be a villain all his life? All the trials and tribulation. Better settle down and get myself a wife. And the wife would cook and sew for me, and come for me, and go for me, and go for me, and nag at me. The finger she would wag at me, the money she would take from me, a misery she'd make from me. I think I'd better think it out again.
Here's another one. Tryptophan, why you don't hear of it. 30 years ago, you know, if you'd have been suffering, it wasn't as bad like an epidemic it was now. This epidemic now is created by the drugs that they've give you because of the factories shut down. But 30, 40 years ago, any practitioner, when you was depressed or down, or you'd had a baby or whatever, they'd have said to you, just go and get tryptophan. It was known. This is not like a revolutionary thing. It's just been taken out of our knowledge bank and taken out. And you know how they done it? Eli Lilly, the drug company, what they did, they wanted to bring in all these SSRI drugs and all the antidepressant drugs and all because they knew, you know, that the amino acid levels were low and what the cause of it was. And these drugs were designed to lift those levels up, the serotonin levels, so you got to feel good out of it. And what that was doing, it was accessing the brain storage banks of aminos, and he was getting every time they took one, they were even more depleted. When they were more depleted. And every one, if you go and do your research and have a look at those mass killings in America with the guns, every one of them was on those SSRIs, messing with the serotonin levels and the melatonin levels. This is what they do. They play with chemicals and they produce killings. All those children, you know exactly what it would produce. If you go and have a look on the label and you have a look on the box, it actually tells you that it can make you suicidal, that it can make you depressed, that it can make you anxious, and that it can make you homicidal. And it tells you that on the insert, and yet they just pump these out left, right and centre like the fishing, hoping to catch somebody whose chemical imbalance will produce exactly what they're after, which was a homicidal maniac. And that you know, those systems can be switched back on. That, you know, that system can operate for your benefit, and you know, that's what this garland of grace is going to do. These amino acids, it's going to preserve your life many years. Big pharma, you know, the pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly and stuff, you know, what they did through a Japanese company is they contaminated a whole batch of tryptophan because they had all these drugs, they had billions and billions of dollars to make, and so they imported it into America and into different places, and it made people ill, it made people sick. And straight away the media and the, you know, the pharmaceutical complex and the, you know, the governments, you know, began to demonise tryptophan, and it was actually banned, you know, in America, so they could no longer use tryptophan, and the amino acids were being stripped and destroyed from them. And now we've got the epidemic of mood epidemic, of ADHD, and of depressive, of manic depressives, you know, of all sorts of schizophrenias, all sorts of brain disorders, which are created, you know, by lack of these, because the neurotransmitters are not able to be reproduced. You know, that the lights have gone out in the synapses in the brain, which will allow the electrical connections, you know, to be made for these feel-good enzymes and proteins to get to work and do the job that they're supposed to do, like we've just watched in the video. You know, this realm is beyond our understanding, the same as how God said it was beyond our understanding. You know, that's why we've got faith. We have to just know that this is ridiculous to believe that there's no one in control of what goes on inside the human cell. Of course they are. You know, you can't create 70 trillion cells to work in completely synchronised fashion to create a man or a woman. That's ridiculous, you know. I'm sitting here now, I've got papers on a table You know, I can't look at that table and say nobody made it. I can't say it came from, you know, the branch of a tree and left for it. It's just ridiculous. A carpenter made it. You know, somebody had to apply tools to it. And you look at those systems we've just been looking at. I mean, this God who created us is absolutely beyond our understanding and tells us so. But he tells us that he is coming back and he's not going to leave this. You know, when you watch, you know, Just Stop Oil, and they threw the oil over the painting and over the Mona Lisa, the whole nation was shocked. It was outrage over every newspaper, as it should be. You know, well, imagine how the creator of that system feels when we just throw poison at it. And we, you know, these entities, these health systems are throwing toxic oil into it and polluting it and destroying it. Systems that make it, you know, like I said, a Swiss watch look like 3 bricks banging around in a cement mixer. The precision is just unbelievable. Engines that power your energy, you know, and we can look at one of them. It's an engine, it has fuel, it has systems, it has a creator, and it has us as a responsibility to run that engine like we do our car. And, you know, the next amino acid I'm going to have a look at, it's going to turn on another area of the brain, tyrosine. You know, you think of the word tired, you know, and you're down and tired, you know, tyrosine is going to light up another area of the brain that has been disconnected. It's like it's had the electricity company come round and cut you off. These chemicals that they've plied us with are like the electricity company cutting your power off. You know, well, tyrosine, okay, I've got here. People who are shy, who are reserved, they can't put them, they can't say. The tyrosine changes all that. That's a chemical imbalance in the synapses. That is not the way we're supposed to be. You know, and we know that, and we're embarrassing shyness. Well, tyrosine lights up the part of the brain that will bring back you. They will find that they're happy to engage again and speak and intervene again and speak the mind again, because the synapses are now firing now. They're getting a better, you know, they're getting a better all-round mood change and a perception, because these things have been switched off probably the whole lives. Energy, and this energy is instant. When you take these, you begin to feel the cellular energy, you know, the alertness and the awakeness. And this is an amino acid. That's another one of the garlands around this garland of grace that God has said will preserve your life many years. So you've got tryptophan as one of those garlands, going to preserve your life many years. And now you've got tyrosine. There's a raft of things that it goes into. When you're depleted in tyrosine, you know, your neurotransmitters, your brain wants to operate, and it you know, it looks for substitutes. It'll look for, and how we find these, this is where all our addictions come from. It's where our sugar addictions come from. It's where our crack cocaine addictions come from. It's where our heroin addictions come from. It's where we're looking for this upper. We don't know this. We're looking for this lift all our lives. Might get it from a ciggy, might get it from a joint, might get it from a coffee, but you don't even know that you're looking for it, because when you experience what these chemicals, what these drugs produce, they give you access for a time into these neurotransmitters. They will make these connections for you, even more depleting you of the amino acids that are in reserve. And you'll feel good, you know, you'll feel good, and then, but inevitably that comes down. You've got less amino acids, so then you're looking for that lift again. The depression's there again. So you look again. This is where and they're having amazing, you know, published results with people who are absolutely been crack cocaine addicts, who are absolutely undernourished beyond belief, are hopeless beyond belief, like those people in the video bent over. And they're taking these people, and through these amino acids being introduced on you know, a more scale than, you know, you and I will probably need. These people are recovering and they're becoming, you know, free of these addictions that have tortured them all their lives. And one of the amino acids, one of those garlands of grace, is tyrosine. Oh, let's have a look what else I've put here. It's the brain pleasure site, is where it activates, where you can be pleased about things, even small things. You know, things won't get on top of you or drive you down into a depression. It activates the site that'll produce that happiness for you. So please, you know, have a look at this, that garland of grace, an amino acid called tyrosine. The third one, the initial it's a DPA, but it's diphenylalanine. What it does in your system when it's introduced, it lifts your endorphin levels, lifts them up so you feel invigorated. You know, you can cope, you can have clarity. The anxiety and the skittishness will be switched off because those synapses will be made. This is one of the other areas of the brain that has been chemically switched off by these occultists, and now be able to switch back on now through this information. I hope you can share it, and it's a value to you, because it's going to change everything for you, because all these diseases and these cancers and these illnesses are the downline effects of the amino acids not being in position to create the proteins and the systems required for your body to battle them. We have been left unarmed. We have been left defenceless against these invaders. You've seen your immune system. It can't function without these amino acids. And that's why we're falling apart, and that's why we're introducing them. When you're low in DPA, you know, you feel down, you feel sad, you feel, you know, you just, what's the point? I can't be bothered, I can't. All that goes out the window when you switch this area of the brain back on with DPA. So have a look at DPA and do your research. And, you know, if you've got any comments, please, I don't know about questions. You know, I'm just going through this with you. This is stuff that I looked at many, many years ago, but didn't look at in any detail, and I am now, because I've got dearly loved ones, you know, that I've got to get on this regime like yesterday, you know. So that's DPA. The next one is called GABA. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but a lot of people are under stress. You know, they're under anxiety and they're under pressure, and stress is a massive killer. Everyone knows that down line, stress causes all your heart attacks, causes thousands of different, you know, killer, you know, effects and stuff. Well, GABA is going to take them away straight away. It'll take them away almost instantly from you. When those synapses switch back on, it's like turning the light on. I mean, no one knows where the dark goes the minute you hit that light. It doesn't hang around for a second. There isn't a battle between it. It's absolutely, as soon as that light appears, that darkness is gone. And that darkness and that gloom that has you know, kept you in that perpetual sadness is darkness. This is where these people operate, in darkness. They minister darkness. They don't want you to go anywhere near the light. They do not want the light switched on for you. Well, GABA will switch the light back on in your receptors, in your brain. That will eliminate that darkness for you. So I'm pretty sure you're going to be checking out GABA. It makes you quiet, peaceful, focused, calm, relax. Well, what would you give for that? This is what people run to all the drugs for, and the alcohol for, and the excitement for. That rush. This is what controls it. This is why those conditions exist, because of this chemical assault that we're beginning to unravel, and we're beginning to reveal, and we're going to begin to spread to one another. Next one is glutamine. When people have chemotherapy and that, and they get pain and they get numbness and they get necrosis and stuff, you know, Glutamine will sort that, but what it is with glutamine as an amino acid is that it's needed for all the others to function correctly. So glutamine is one that you're going to look at. That's going to be the other garland that goes round your neck. And that's what these look like. They look like a string of pearls. You've seen them being created, and they're beautiful. They take form, and who controls them controls the heavens and the earth. The ones who controls them controls the stars in the sky, the fish in the sea. He controls the past, the present and the future, and he controls what's going to happen down here. And he's told us and he's informed us in what is the most occulted thing on this planet, what is the most demonised thing on this planet, what is the most laughed at thing on this planet, what is the most derided thing on this planet, which is the Word of God, which is the Bible. And it tells us he sent a way out for us. Yeah, it was his son. Came here not as an entity, not as an invisible entity, appearing in a seance. No, he came and he manifested, and he said he walked here as a man, and he experienced this place, and he gave us information, and he destroyed their kingdom spiritually. And that's where you've got to destroy it, spiritually, to be able to live and see again. And this information was given to me. I was led to this, and he did it. And I'm just laying it on to you because he loves you. To say, why wouldn't he love you? Created the birds and the sun and the sky and the moon and everything, so you can appreciate it. And you're not. You're downtrodden, you're depressed, you're down, you're anxious, you're fearful. That's not how it's supposed to be. You're in darkness. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. He said, I am the light of the world. Everyone's looking for truth. Well, he said, I'm it. He said, I created you in the secret place. I claim responsibility. He was either telling the truth, he was either telling lies, or he belonged in an asylum. None of those things happened. Whole Roman Empire changed, became Christian, followed them. Whole planet, there's billions of people still now follow and believe that book. It's true, I believe it. And he told us where all this was. It was in the leaves of the trees, it was in the plants, it was in the vegetables. It was all there. He'd done his part, and we just walked away from what he told us and believed the lie, believed the serpents, got ill, got sick, got dead and destroyed and robbed en route. Got to change. So that's where this come from. I mean, please don't get the idea I'm any sort of a scholar or a smart dude. No, mate, this was a gift from God to me and from me to you. I hope you can receive it and wear that garland of grace, because it says it will preserve your life many years. Wisdom and knowledge. That's what you get from God when you submit, when you say sorry for ignoring you all my life. Look at the mess I'm in. How do we get away from all this? And that's where Jesus said, I'm the way out. I'm the truth. I'm the life. I created you. I know how to recreate you. I'm going to start with amino acids.
There are 9 of them that we cannot make ourselves: histine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. And as a result, we have to obtain them from our diet. We call these the essential amino acids.
You know, now that we've had a look at some of these things in operation, this unseen realm and this dimension that these conjurers and these black art magicians, you know, they spend their entire lives in this realm, peering through microscopes and looking through slides and introducing chemicals and seeing what, you know, they can get them kinases to stagger up and down them tubulates with, and just to mess up and destroy that system. Because if they can get within, if they can get inside into the unseen and do their devilment in the unseen, well, they believe that they can get away scot-free. Well, it's just not, you know, it's just not all one-way traffic, because our Creator and our God has given us free will. He's given us the capacity not only to reverse their evil mechanisms within the internal realm, but to turn on those systems for our benefit. Because this is a fight; it's not a two-way fight, and mankind is not the one who is ultimately going to be defeated. God has given us the tools. He's given us his word. He's given us a handbook. He's given us the enemy plan. He's given us their tactics. He's given us their power structure. And not only has he done that, he's given us the means to defeat all their power and all their authority by making a choice. That's what the intervention was. That's why now it's 2024. It's 2024 years since Jesus came here. That's how prominent and how important this individual was, that we actually divided time by him. We've been here for thousands and thousands of years, but it's 2000 because that's the impact that what this man said and what this man did and what this man accomplished, and the prophecies that were written thousands of years before that he fulfilled to the letter, and the resurrection sort of sealed the deal. So this is the one who claims that he holds all these systems together. He said, I did it. I know you can't understand it spiritually. I know the damage that's been done to you. You can't perceive this stuff. He says, my ways are higher than your ways. And so he had to come down to our level. He had to look us in the eye, man to man, fully man, and experience this place so he could communicate with us. And that's what the Word of God is. That's why it's been so ridiculed and taken away from you, because it's allowed these monsters and these entities and these invaders and these Klingons and these bloodline demented families to run amok and to have free reign, because they operate in the unseen, in the dark, with the nature of a serpent that strikes at your heel. Many people who have watched and they know about the law and they know about the Sesta Key accounts. Well, how did that be revealed when it's in the scripture, when it goes right back to the Garden of Eden? This is how long this deception has gone on for, because he says when this entity, when this serpent, the one who controls these mad families, had taken ownership, he tricked Adam out of the deeds of ownership to this place, because mankind had the ownership. Mankind had the authority over the earth, the plants, the animals, the fish in the sea. He had supernatural abilities that had gone from us. And he was tricked by this higher being, by these higher entities, who these bloodlines now still, are receiving information and being deceived from. They happily go along with it for the authority and for the power. But Adam fell and he lost ownership of this place. He becomes subservient to another master. He lost his power, he lost his authority to a fallen angel who is now the God of this world, where you and I were supposed to be his representative. And now they're in control. Well, what he said when God spoke about this situation in the Bible that we ridicule, he said a couple of remarkable things. He said, because you have done this, that you have usurped ownership, because God Almighty created this place. It's his to give to whoever he wishes, and he's not an Indian giver. He doesn't give one day and take away the next. When he gives, it's for keeps. When he speaks, it's for keeps, and when he acts, it's for keeps. And he said to Adam that this place was yours, and Adam gave it to the serpent through deception. And he brought him on. God said, because you have done this, you've done this terrible thing. He says, well, this is what's going to happen. And he gave a prophetic word. He said, you will strike his heel. Right? Think on that. This is spiritual. This is spiritually discerned. He said, you will strike his heel, meaning mankind, meaning you and I, this serpent being, will strike our heel. And he said, but man, him, meaning Jesus, who was going to step in and do this, he will crush your head. Okay, what does that mean? He will strike your heel. Well, then you come forward to the very last section in the book, and you come to today. And everyone's waiting now for the financial collapse. They're waiting for CBDCs. They're having the pensions stripped away. They're having all the wherewithal taken. They can't put food on the table. The elderly are cold in the homes, while there are trillions and trillions of pounds being stored and wasted and joined. And what he says that in the end days all that wealth will be taken away from you. He said, and what he says, he says, weep and wail, you rich men. He says, you have stored up wealth for yourselves in the end days. And it says, the wages you have withheld from your workers will rise up as a testament against you. And it says, your silver and gold will canker and will be worthless. And you know why he said why that's going to happen? Because of that total implode. Why that Sesta Key account and the Vatican and Rome, he says he's going to destroy it in 1 hour without remedy. And you know why he's going to do that? It says because, back to that first word, it says that you will strike his heel. And how he struck our heel was that every baby and every child that's born now, they get blood taken, and they get it taken from the heel, they get it taken from the foot. And that blood is affixed to a document called the Sesta Key account that is opened in your name, and they trade on your soul. And that's exactly what the Bible says. It says because you traded in the souls of men, you become a commodity, you become cattle, you become an animal, and you become expendable. That's your Sesta Key account. They traded in the souls of men. And if you think you're a bit miffed about it, or you wait till see what Almighty God thinks about it, because them men and women belong to him. They were his property. And where every other standing off waiting for an alien invasion, that word is a legal and lawful term. If you put a hyphen after the A, you get the term alien, which is what you take on somebody else's property who owes you a debt. This is a lien that's being exercised. This is a lien. This is God coming back and reclaiming his property. He's going to take which is his, and he's going to take in those who have chosen to accept his son, to accept his sacrifice, to accept the reality of reality. Amino acids, thank God for them, eh? Where's a good source for them? This is only an introduction, by the way, so where is a good source where you can access those amino acids? I mean, the doctors never told you, I know that. Hen's eggs. I don't know whether you've watched lately, but as this attack has been going on with this poison, over in America there have been facilities with over 200,000 chickens in them, one after the other torched to the ground, every one of them burnt to a cinder, all over the place. I have chickens, I love chickens, they're a fantastic creature. And now I hear through the grapevine that they're going to, require a license, for you to own chickens, which are the best source of amino acids, the garland of grace that God has placed around our cells and around our systems that will preserve our life many years. Now they want you to have a license to have one. These evil bloodline families, because they're frightened to death that when you get this information you're going to start fending for yourself, that you're going to turn your back on these monsters and you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh my goodness, I didn't realise that was going on underneath the skin. Them cytokines, what am I going to give them to carry? We're going to give them a big toxic lump of poison off this bloodline? Or am I going to give them tryptophan? Am I going to give them iodine? Am I going to give them the stuff they need to make me function at a higher level, an optimum level? So they're coming after the chickens. And the trick is in the word, like I said on the other video, about censorship. You're going to either activate your sense or you're going to become a ship. These people want you to apply for a license. Break the word up again. Lie. Sense. Am I going to buy this lie? Am I going to listen to these liars? Am I going to believe these psychotics? Or am I going to activate my God-given sense? It's a choice. Put a hyphen in it. Use your God-given sense. All this stuff is knowable. It's redeemable and it's returnable. And what they want to do ultimately here is they want to exterminate the chickens. They want to exterminate the hens. They want to exterminate your cats. They want to exterminate your dog. Because what those things do, they produce within you love and empathy. And that is one thing that they're determined to stamp out. Because they want you to have the same spirit as their children possess. That was instilled in them in schools through their abuse and the violence and the terrorism that they all experienced. They want you to be without empathy. So they're going to get rid of your pets. They're going to get rid of everything. They're going to get rid of your children. They're going to get rid of your mum and dad. They're going to get rid of you. Unless you can wake up and stand up and switch these areas of your brain on. And as soon as they're switched on and those lights are turned back on, I reckon you keep going and go for the light. I reckon you hit your knees and you ask Jesus to come into your life and make it real. Because he is the ultimate source here. He is the one that's going to exercise this lane. And he is the one that hung on the cross for you. And he made it known for you. It's 2024 years since he did it. You know, think on these things. They want to take away our source of life. And Jesus told us, I am the way, the truth and the life. He's produced everything we need for life, for health, for happiness. And we turned our backs on all of it. And now they're even coming for the hens. They're coming for the chickens. Well, the new health system that's just evolving seems to be, you know, as God is leading different people in different aspects, you know, are coming together. And, you know, the best source of these things is hens. So we're going to protect the hens and this new health service, this new system. I reckon I'm going to put a vote forward that we call it the NHS. Because we're going to get our amino, we're going to get our health back. And it's going to be through amino acids. The best form of them amino acids is through the yolk of an egg. The NHS. You know, we've said over video on here that these people speak to your subconscious so it doesn't panic because, you know, your conscious mind doesn't pick this stuff up. You know, so we don't activate our God-given sense. So what do we take in substitute for it? You know, we have to follow something. You know, if we're not going to use our sense, you know, so we follow our elders, we follow our superiors, we follow our scientists who, you know, we revere and we lift up, and you know, they've got the millions of dollars and they come out with all these, you know, proclamations and nonsense in the main. And they tell us that we've got to follow the science. You know, we've got to be scientific about how we, like, you know, approach these systems and how we, and the pharmaceuticals and the poisons and the toxins. Well, that's a great mechanism. It's scientific. Oh, we don't go for none of that old-fashioned voodoo nonsense. You know, that Bible stuff. You know that, you know, the healing of the nations is found within the leaves of the trees and the plants of the earth, which, by the way, we cannot even. It is only the plants that can produce, you know, that can add that nitrogen oxide to produce the amino acids we need. You know, the plants are our partners in life here. You know, that we can't. They are the entity that God placed there to create those amino acids for us, so we can live. So, you know, you've got that. So, you know, that's true science. That's omniscience, that's God science. He's told you where it is, but we're going to be scientific. So, you know, what about the word? They communicate in words to your subconscious. So let's have a look at the word scientific. You know, a lot of our language and babble and stuff that we get now come from the ancient language of Latin. Goes back many thousands of years and stuff. You know, some of the Catholic masses were still said in Latin. They're trying to bring them back. No, the word scientific has its root in the Latin language. So just in closing, you know, and just, I'm going to just, you know, we'll open up the internet and we'll have a look. And what we'll do is we'll tap in the word scientific. and we'll use Google Translate. Well, I won't. I haven't got a clue even how to open the laptop. And we'll convert that word scientific to Latin. Are you ready? Here we go.